So, Kamala Harris, Vice President, arriving in El Paso, Texas, pretending that she's at the critical part of the border. Everybody knows it's not. There she is, of course, having a great time, laughing, giggling. The critical spot where she should have gone is about 800 miles away. Let's go ahead and put it up. El Paso to McAllen, Texas is nearly 800 miles away. And that's where she should have gone. Interesting, though, some people in El Paso had a great message for her today.
Good morning, America. This is Irene Armendariz-Jackson in El Paso, Texas, and I'm here to say, Kamala, you came a little too late. We have had this crisis for years. We need solutions. We don't need you parading in the Border Patrol station or acting like you care. Americans matter. America matters. God bless you, America.
I saw that this morning, and I just loved it. Great video, great person, and we found her. She is Irene Armendariz-Jackson. She's a Republican candidate for Congress right there in El Paso. Oh, forgive me, former congressional candidate. I hope you run again someday. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great, and I am running in 2022.
Fantastic. That's what I thought originally. Hey, quite a message for Kamala Harris. Reiterate it. What is she missing besides the obvious that you and your neighbors know so well?
Well, I want to make sure that you understand where we're standing. Right behind me is the Obama border wall, the one where all the left voted for. And a few miles away from me, maybe about 20 miles from me, is where the Trump border wall ends. So we do have a crisis. I'm also the wife of a Border Patrol agent. So I don't need anybody telling me the truth about what's going on the border. I have a front row seat. And this has been going on for years, but politicians keep kicking this problem down the street, and we need solutions in El Paso. And I think one of the things that I want Kamala and Biden to understand, and our Representative Escobar, who I'm running against, and the person like Beto O'Rourke, is that we need solutions for El Paso. We don't need the government to come against the American citizens. We are endangering American lives, and enough. We need solutions and to be able to protect our children and the women and our Border Patrol agents who are putting their life on the line every day.
So that's pretty wild. That backyard there, that fence, on the other side of that fence is Mexico.
Yes, yes. A few steps away, above it, there's a road, and that's still El Paso. But the people that live in this neighborhood, you see the chain link fence that ends right here. The illegal aliens will actually cutting that fence over and over again and slithering through that chain link fence, endangering the lives of the people that live here. The lady that owns this house, she grew up here. It's been in her family since 1912.
Yep. And
she says that she calls this fence her freedom fence because now she can actually go to her backyard.
This is Kamala Harris blaming President Trump for just about everything, including the border crisis.
Exactly.
It is here in El Paso that the previous administration's child separation policy was unveiled. And so we've seen the disastrous effects of that right here in this region. It is here in El Paso that the return to Mexico policy from the previous administration was implemented. We have seen the disaster that resulted from that.
And there's that Homeland Security guy behind her, just kind of smiling benignly, like, yes, yes, yes. Totally checked out. You know that a lot of folks believe that they don't want to fix this problem on purpose. They want the cheap labor, and the globalists do, and the Democrats want the votes. They think they can harness these folks, get their votes, or at least portray them voting in a certain direction. And that may be one of the reasons why they don't want voter ID.
Right, right. Let me just tell you that my dad was a construction worker. And my dad was a construction worker, and he had to leave El Paso many times because illegals would come and underbid the jobs, and he couldn't sustain his family. He was a legal immigrant from Mexico, and he would constantly leave El Paso. And I didn't hear one Democrat speaking about the separation of my family. It was months at a time that my dad had to leave. The American worker matters, and illegal immigration devalues that labor.
Well, we appreciate it so much, Irene. Good luck in the campaign. Stay in touch. You're running for Congress down there in the 16th District. Beto O'Rourke, huh? That's
Yes,
where
sir.
he was first. Thank you very much. And as we transition to our next guest, I'd like to show Kamala blaming or citing root causes. Root causes is her favorite phrase about the reason for this crisis.
The effects of what I've already been addressing, which are the root causes of migration, to address the root causes which cause people to leave and often flee, was about addressing the root causes. Reinforce the nature of those root causes. Addressing the cause, the root causes, concern ourselves with the root cause issues, taking a leadership role on root causes, the actual root causes that we have placed on the root causes, the overall issue, which is root causes, to invest in the root causes, engage in an active way on the root causes.
All right, a little harsh there. 12 times. Let's bring in Ronald Vitello, former acting director of ICE. Root causes, sure, you could talk about them for 50 years, though. There's always going to be poverty in Central America, at least for the foreseeable future. They're obviously ignoring, in my opinion, the crisis at hand. Sir, your thoughts?
I agree with you. What are we going to do? Are we going to move the U.S. military to Guatemala to straighten out the corruption, the gang violence, and the lack of governance in that country? How long is that going to take? And what did we not hear today at the border or near the border where the vice president was? We didn't talk about resources. We didn't talk about securing the border. We didn't talk about a better way forward or what worked previously in both the Obama-Biden administration, then again in Trump. So we didn't hear any solutions. We heard a lot of pontificating about how they're doing better. Well, yeah, they're doing better. They built more shelter space for the thousands and tens of thousands of kids that have come to the border alone so they could be placed in the United States. We encourage this behavior. This crisis started when they removed the tools that were in place when they took over. That's why we had a crisis for most of the year so far. And going to the border in El Paso, where she was, she's a stone's throw away from a 30-foot steel border wall. And there's not thousands of children and families coming across that border near where she was, like it's happening, as you mentioned earlier in the program, in the Rio Grande Valley. So she didn't see the real problem as it exists. She talked about root causes. That's great. How long is that going to take?
All right, I want to show the real problem as it exists right now. Video of people crossing the Rio Grande. I believe this is near McAllen, Texas. Let's go ahead and see it. It's awful, and there's so much of it. It happens with impunity. You see a long line of people waiting for a boat. It's like a ferry, a shuttle service, back and forth, back and forth. What is not happening now that was happening during the Trump years in that particular area? Why is this happening with it? What did they actually withdraw to allow this to happen?
Well, the most important thing that was happening at the line to a family that comes in that looks like that, they would be allowed to claim asylum in the United States. But instead of being released as they are now into the United States, they would have to wait in Mexico to have their due process and their hearing. That was keeping many people from sending their children or coming to the border to cross illegally from Mexico. They had to wait for their hearings over there. That worked. Also, asylum accords with the Northern Triangle, so that if you left Guatemala and crossed into Mexico, you could claim asylum there instead of coming all the way to the United States to do it. That all got ripped away on the 21st of January. That's why CBP was overcrowded for many, many months this year. And now it's like them saying, okay, I'm the arsonist, but I put the fire out. The fire's not here anymore. But you still burn the building down.
Well, help is coming, or at least some moral support. President Trump, former President Trump, will be there next week. And we all know that's why Kamala Harris showed up today at the last possible moment, essentially. Ronald Vitello, we appreciate it very much. Former acting director of ICE. To be continued, sir, and we'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.